Hey, what's happening? It's yours truly, Robert Phoenix, and we are back for another edition of the Astro Weather. Coming on the other side of the old eclipse. And you see autumnal equinox. That's right. Just trying to make sure you have the right volume. See exactly what the sound was. Input. Let's turn it up. Let's turn it up today. There we go. All right. Oh, look who we have. None other than you know who. There she is. The Astro Weather Cat. That's right. Miss Peaches. Coming off of her morning bowl of wet food and a trip to the kitty box. And life is good. Some beings have very simple lives. And sometimes they have a lot to teach us. Just to make sure your human cleans your kitty box. Okay, let's see. Let's do a quick little roll call. Roll call here. What do we have? Let's see. We got DJ MC. There he is, batting lead off. Kabuki Theater. What's up? We're rolling with Bo. The new next. Ooh, we went with the classic thumbnail. That's right. We got a little Botticelli. Botticelli, little Aphrodite. Little Venus on the clamshell. Seeger, she's a shell of her former self. Oh my God. Ka-ching. Andy Edwards. The Clam Lies Down on Broadway. I like that. Here's the Andy Edwards segue. Andy's latest, the 10 hardest men in rock. We're not talking about crotch hard. We're talking about tough fighters. Very funny, I have to say. He said that the Beatles could kick the Rolling Stones' ass. I don't think so. Although, aren't there more Stones than Beatles? An advantage in a fight with one guy. Actually, there were two more Stones than Beatles. There were 4 Beatles. You had 2 guitarists in the Stones. You had drum and bass. That's 4, and then you had Mick Jagger. So they had an advantage of one of the Beatles. Well, let's face it, John Lennon was good at smacking a woman around, but I'm not sure about dudes. Maybe the second Paul, taller, longer punch and reach than the first Paul. I don't think George Harrison fancied himself a fighter. I really do. And then who does that leave us? Ringo. I think Ringo could probably scrap it. Seems like a strong drummer kind of guy. He played a caveman in the movie. But his number 1 toughest guy. Who was it? Billy Cobham. I thought that was weird. I'm sure many of you do not know who Billy Cobham is, but that's okay. My top 10 is a little bit different. Julie Sunshine, 333, the end of the world as we know it vibes. So just to give you a heads up here, I am not going to be doing 15 minutes today because I'm going to be. I did not watch the Charlie Kirk Memorial. I didn't want to be a part of that moment of soul suck. So I am going to watch it today, and I'm going to be doing a commentary tomorrow on the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which, for all intents and purposes, felt like a Trump, what I can tell, what I saw, felt a lot like a Trump political rally. These little Pellegrinos were really good, but I think they're not good for you. All right, Paige Michael Steib. Let's see, who else we have? Liddy Lou. What's happening, Liddy Lou? Up all night, sending love. We flew into Turin, Italy today. Oh, Italy is starting to become a war zone, isn't it? I've been to Turin. Do you know that Turin is, I don't know how they do these rankings, but Turin was rated the second most satanic city in the world. You guys know the first most satanic city in the world? San Francisco. Jackie Delario. The Bisu's here to 23rd of September, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Today's supposed to be the rapture. If you're still here, you're fucked. And I guess I'm still there. You're still there. Some people aren't here. I wonder why. Maybe they got raptured. Hope you had a chanting, peaceful weekend. Dropping some love to all. Thanks to Bisu. It was, you know what? It was enchanting. It was peaceful. Had a great dinner on Saturday night at one of Austin's sushi restaurants. It was really great. Joan does a gluten-free kind of fried chicken thing that was really good the other night. And I had pidi pois, which is peas, mushrooms, a little garlic, butter, my favorites. Kelly B, she'll be back soon. Well, we'll be here. Ole Kobe, hello, Ole, Lena Winkler. Who else we have? Janine. Thanks, Janine. I'm going to ride the birthday wave from yesterday until next Monday. Why not? Hi, Susan. Susan's here. There's Tom Jordan. Glemma. Christine Jerzak. Thank you. Yes. Josie's Jazz Junk. Who likes fiery redheads? I was once a fiery redhead, but I didn't like giving people a warning. Gingers. That's what Andy calls them. Gingers. They are fiery. Just like Ginger Baker. Let's see. Jane Adams. Thank you, Jen. Let's see. Here she is, the lovely and talented one. Mary Maggs. Hi, Mary. Oh my God. This is the imagination of Pisces right here. Yes, I'm basically a sirloin steak coated in popping candy. So we call them pop rocks here. That's an interesting food construction. And you know what's weird? Somebody probably somewhere has done that shit. That's what's weird. Somebody's done it. If it's been thought of, it's been done. I guarantee you. Moira in NYC. Greetings, Barbara Boots. BB, Shelly Myers here. BB and PB. Lamb Chop. What's up, Lamb Chop? Mark, yes. What's going on? The Illustrated Man. Kristen Foose. Good morning, Kristen. Kim Harvey. Hi, Kim. Amy Gill. There he is, the big cheese. Neil Smith. What's going on, brother? Kevin Stick-Evers. Kevin told me the weirdest story. Kevin, if I could tell the story, just say yes. If not, I will respect your privacy. Ratchet Boo. What's going on? Maya Rose, Stephanie Hunter. We got Miss Nikki, Sharon Lewis. Good morning. Yellow, money person, yellow podium. Blue third eye, last rocket, red countdown, liftoff. I like that. Desi Logan, getting ready for bed. Well, I'll put you to sleep. I'll just start talking in a monotone voice. That's what I'll be saying. This is dedicated to Desley and her sleep cycle. The first 5 minutes are dedicated to Desi and her sleep cycle. All right, who else we have here? Malia Ms. North's Musings, Laura E. Vivi. Vivi. Bill Smith, hey, Vivi. Yeah, Roger Dolce was a scouser. He was a scouser. Apparently, the Brits use the word tasty. I didn't know that. When somebody was tough, they were tasty. We have a different version of tasty here. We actually might use the word testy. But yeah, Daltrey can fight a little bit for sure. I wouldn't have gone with Rob Halford. Yeah, because he was into all that S&M shit. He'd have whips. Rob Halford would whip you. And then he'd put you in cuffs and he'd whip you some more. That would be Rob Halford style. And you get into all like hardcore S&M shit. Leather masks, and you just get too weird. I would say I wouldn't want to tangle with Rob Halford either. Chains might be in there too. You know what I mean? Like it's not the old Earl whatchamacallit rules from Rob Halford. Ain't got no rules. Sarisa Chica, Christina Maria. Let's see, who else? Anybody else? Sandra, oh, Sandra, she was CPSA. Betrayed CK, hoping she's not next. I'll tell you right now, Candace Owens has a major security detail. When your husband is worth $250 million and his father is worth probably twice that, you can afford a major security detail. I think she lives in Nashville. She doesn't go anywhere, right? Her security has been with her for a while, I'm sure. So good luck getting to Candace Owens. That's a lot. You know, people think, oh, it'd be great to be a really famous YouTuber. I don't know. Maybe, I think, I don't know. I think there's a lot of hassle that would come along with that. A lot of hassle. And if you're in this lane, you're going to piss people off. That's the way it is. Holly Beth, what's going on, Holly Beth? Melissa Urban, the Eclipse season is nuts. What kind of nuts? Mixed nuts? Well, thank you, Christina Maria. Diane Evans is here. Regina Poole's here. Thank you, Regina Poole. Melissa Stanton, listening at work. The Sunday show with Virgo in the houses was very helpful. Every now and then I can be very specific. Look at that. I'm getting some bleed on that sign back there. Makes me want to get up and turn that light on. But the light's going to change externally. Like the light in the room change. So the sign will change. Yes. Okay. Kevin gave me a yes. All right. So I'm going to put this up here. I get a text from Kevin. And turns out his father-in-law passed away just like a couple days ago. And his father-in-law was born on the Ides of March, 1938, my mother's exact birthday. So it's his father-in-law. And then his uncle, which is his father's brother, he just finds out like a day or two later, or they're like falling like dominoes, and his father's brother passes away, and his father's brother has the same birthday as my son. Different year, obviously. But it's like, talk about some weird synchronicities. Man. Thank you, Holly Beth. Anyway, Kevin, I just wanted to share that because you shared it. It's just like weird. But weird is what I've come to expect. Amy's dad turned 86. I just keep reflecting that he's lived experiences amazing. I'm blessed. There's Lynn. Hi, Lynn. What's going on? Desiree Conrad's here today. Good morning. Let's see. Beth's going through a rough few weeks. I know a lot are. I am 42. Midlife crisis. You got the midlife crisis. The midlife crisis in my child. That's actually the Saturn, the Uranus opposition. It kicks in around 38. You're stringing it out, Desiree. It's time to let go. Let go. Let go of that midlife crisis. Coming up on 44, which is the Saturn opposition. Now here's your next station. Very dangerous with a paddle at 2 paces. There you go. I think Ian Anderson with a flute can be dangerous. He seems like the guy's done a lot of twirling. He could probably use a flute, like a sensei. I'm glad my mom wasn't raptured. We're glad too. There's Scrubbies. Hey, Tamara. Candace the Peace. She is, man. Let's see who else we have here. Thank you, Maya Rose. Maya Rose and I had a nice conversation with her. She showed me her paintings. Let's see. Did I say hi to Bill? Moon Villain. Rapture talk today. Ready? Yeah. I had a dream the one time, but I left behind. This is years ago. Years and years ago. And I didn't even really know what the rapture was about. My sign looks like it's about to explode, but it's not. I'm just waiting for the light to change. Chandra Sparkles checking in from Corpus Christi, the body of Christ. Blessings, blessings, blessings be amongst you. Did I say hi to Moonsprout? Hi, Moonsprout. Not big twice. If I did twice. Okay. We're here. We're ready to go. Body of the eclipse, 21st. Yeah, heavy times. Let's get into the weather. Love the way you talk. I think T-Rex was a very underrated band. Although sometimes their songs kind of sound the same. They have that same kind of clickety-clack sort of rhythm and beat. I still love them. I'm a big T-Rex fan. Although Mark Bolan reminds me of one of those guys that did a deal with the devil, doesn't he? Because T-Rex, formerly Tyrannosaurus Rex, previously Tyrannosaurus Rex, was kind of this hippie folk band. And it was Mark Bolan and Mickey Finn. And let's do this here. And they were okay. They would do a lot of these festivals. I like the very early versions of Glastonbury and all these folk festivals. I think the biggest hit they had was a song called Deborah, which is really, really good. And then all of a sudden, who was the producer? Was it Mickey Most? Did he produce some of their stuff? He drops kind of the folky stuff. He does a Dylan. And they go electric. And Mark Bolan becomes a freaking god for like 4 years. And then because he has no self-control and loves food and loves wine and loves women, and he's playing the rock star game, he becomes a portly little man. And then he has a weird car wreck It's like, okay, the devil's going to claim the soul. Kind of feels like a T-Rex. Although one time I did go down this rabbit hole, but my phone was still alive. But it was a very shallow rabbit hole. So it was. All right, here we go. We're in. We're now. Sun, 0. Look at that. 0. 0 the sun. Mercury, moon, new moon, Libra. It's a time for clearing out, a time for the new. The aesthetic, the beautiful. I will fill your screens with beauty every morning with the thumbnail. The horror waits a month from now. We have time. But for now, let us indulge. Let us indulge in symmetry, beauty, form, grace in all of its eternal and glorious depiction. Mars, where she is, Scorpio, it's in. Bada bing, Mars is Scorpio. You guys see it? Oh, you can't see it. I knew that. You know, this is. I'm gonna have to find a new straight planet. I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of this. Thank you, Tom. Try it again. There you go. Go up back there. There you go. Bigger. So there's our 0-degree sun. It's one, it's the day where the egg stands up on its side, and I think people will be. I think people can be a little more pleasant today. We're starting off on a new foot. By the way, Libra's about contracts. It's about contracts. And today I have instated a new invisible contract, and it's working out perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And perhaps at a certain point we'll discuss the new invisible contract. But for now, it's in place, and I'm feeling much more harmonious and balanced. We have Venus in Virgo. So we have to use discrimination. We're going to take Venus and Virgo out of the old Astro ghetto. We have to use discrimination in our relationships. It's funny. There is a discrimination got replaced by discernment. And I think discernment's almost overused now. Because there's a lot of cultural baggage that goes along with discrimination. But I'm going to re-employ discrimination today. Discrimination became attached. The word discrimination was around before it became associated with the unsavory social ramifications of discrimination. You had to discriminate between who you should be friends with. Although when you're young, not a lot of people have great discriminations. But this is what and there's a difference, right, with Venus and Virgo. Like, if there was a Venus where you would use discernment, it might be Venus and Libra, perhaps. Maybe Venus and Cancer. Venus in Cancer would get you to discern like kind of what's right and what's wrong in terms of how you're relating to others, and trusting your gut, trusting your intuition and hunches. Venus in Virgo is not like that. Venus in Virgo is not about discernment. It is about discrimination. And you have to discriminate between. Again, this is before the word got tainted. You have to discriminate what's right and wrong for you in relationship, and it's a bit of a harsh critic, Venus and Virgo. And then you have the square with Uranus, and it's like sudden. All of a sudden, you're not there, or you're there, and you don't even know why you're there. That's a little inside code. But it can be shocking sometimes when somebody has all of a sudden passed a judgment on, well, maybe a person in their life, but it's been a long time coming. And Venus and Virgo doesn't stand on ceremony. It's not very sentimental. And that's why I use the word discriminate. It's loaded in some ways. But you have to work with it. You have to deal with the historical context of it. And then work through it, reclaim it. And Mars is right there with the sextile. Mars and Scorpio is like, have the courage. Have the courage to discriminate and trim those weeds. You got to trim them. You got to pull them up by the roots. Today's one of those days, and you can do it with a harmonious sense of gratitude. Easy. This is about as close to the eclipse or my birth chart energy in some ways. I think maybe yesterday was about as close as you get, although Venus in my chart is way out in front. I got Venus at 23 degrees on Spica. And I think Venus was about to go retrograde. It's very rare when Venus gets 2 signs ahead. It might just touch that sign. It's on its way back. So Venus was on a tight tether, on a tight leash. The only planet I have retrograde on my chart is Chiron. That goes retrograde all the time. So here we go. It's a new seasonal cycle up here. You folks down under, Desley, it's springtime. Springtime in Aussie land. So that's good. Nice change of year for you Aussies. It's a moon where it's not quite exactly new, but it's still in the new zone. And I've said this before, people that are born on a new moon, they have a cup to fill. So their life generally has lots of experiences. It's an empty cup, an empty jar. So they want to fill it right up, right? And that's what we're doing here. We're coming off of this new moon. We're coming off of this eclipse. It feels like there's been a bit of a cleansing with this eclipse. Maybe you guys have experienced some of that in your life as well. If you haven't seen the 12 sign video, it's on the channel here. I got to put a thumbnail on it because it would it's like a new coat of paint. It might attract some people. Yeah, and then Mars squaring Jupiter. Well, that's early because Mars has been squaring Jupiter, making everything big, right? Like even violence. We're in violence mode, by the way. Mars Pluto square. Definitely some anger in the air. And I know that it's funny, not funny. The final image of this Erica Kirk, who, by the way, I do not trust. The final image of her, with the "I love you" or the devil horns, however you want. That's really that image of Erica Kirk really sums up our society. She's a Rorschach. She's either "I love you" or "I worship you, Satan." There's no Texas Longhorns there because she's not a Longhorn. She might be an Arizona State Sun Devil, but that's not where you want to express your allegiance for college. A little bit poor taste. So it's one or the other, right? It's either "I love you" or "I love you, Satan." And then Erica Kirk's hand gesture is the defining moment of our time. How you see that sort of defines where you are in some ways on the ledger sheet. I'm on the Heath ledger sheet on this. And I think that there's something a little dark at play. A little dark. I don't think. By the way, Jimmy Kimmel is coming back on tonight. You guys know that, right? And he's going to be with Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's going to go. That's a troll. That's a troll. Now, do you think that they're still gunning for this civil war? You know, one of the things that I was going to talk about after the death of our white virgin goddess in Charlotte, Rena, is that Helter Skelter never went away, but now they've broadened the canvas, so to speak, and for the people that are familiar with Helter Skelter, it was Charlie Manson, and he was going to provoke a race war. And it was just at that time race, black versus white. It seems like they're pushing this in an omnidirectional fashion, kind of like this chart. So it's inclusive, and they'll get it any way that they can, or you know. What do I got? 20 minutes left. I think I'll get through this without using my nasal spread. I feel a little stuffed up. But this Mars in Scorpio is vengeful. It's one of the things that, and I love Scorpio. You know, you ever notice I never talk shit about Scorpio. There's a reason why. I don't want the Scorpios coming after me. No. I don't want the Scorpios. So, but that's not true. I like Scorpios. Come on, a Scorpio rising, I get that. They're intense people. They're dark. I think, and if they're on your side, they will die for you. They will die for you. That's how loyal Scorpios are. And I think they're great. However, they do have a bit of a vengeful side. And I'm not saying that Scorpios are going to be vengeful, but Mars and Scorpio, with the square to Jupiter, making everything bigger, and everybody's got their version of what America is now. That's really a dangerous place to be. And it doesn't help that our current administration just is not very truthful. You know, here's a very cynical part of me. And I do believe that Charlie Kirk is gone. You will not see Charlie Kirk. At least not as Charlie. But you won't see him. He's gone. But it's pretty convenient because Charlie Kirk is like the mouth rinse with holy water. Right? So you take that mouth rinse, you swish it around, you try and get the Epstein taste out of your mouth. If you're the administration, right? Because that I could just go so Mars and Scorpio. I'm going to be in the moment. I'm just going to be in the Mars and Scorpio moment because this current administration can't get the Epstein dick smell out of their mouth. Okay, they can't. So what do? You rinse with holy water, hoping beyond hope that you get the Epstein dick smell out of your mouth. And it feels like, in a weird way, that's what this memorial is about. Like, we need something bigger to move on. Like, we don't do that. What do you mean? Why are you talking about this now? We just had this great memorial with Charlie Kirk. Right? Doesn't it kind of feel like that? I don't know if it's going to go down like that, though. It's kind of like Dick Cheney, who apparently used to drink hydrogen peroxide because his breath was so foul. He probably, his stomach was probably like a chamber to a realm of hell. And the sulfuric fumes would come up through Dick Cheney's stomach. And that the only way that you could get rid of it is temporarily is by consuming hydrogen. It's a true story. True story. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I think people, in spite of Charlie Kirk, in spite of this 3-hour rally spectacle memorial at the 33rd degree in the city of Phoenix, the golden bird from the golden age, flaming and resurrected, I'm not sure it's going to work. And everybody's got their version of America. And with this Mars spur, we're seeing it. We're definitely seeing it. I just don't think there's much. I mean, you've got the sextile with Venus, which I think cleaning up your relationships. That's what that's about. And then you have the in conjunct with Uranus, Neptune, Saturn. And again, the forces that drive people mad are here. We do have some nice aspects. We've got a grand trine. What else we have here? We have almost borderline mystic rectangle, lots of sextiles, Saturn, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter trine. There's some good things going on here. Yeah, we haven't had a Saturn, Jupiter trine in a while, have we? That's all retrograde. Neptune's back in zero Aries, soon to re-enter into Pisces. I think we're going to start to see some flooding again when Neptune comes back into Pisces. Let's see. All the outer planets are retrograde, except for Jupiter. Jupiter is one of those inner outer planets. It's like a belly button. You can't tell if it's an innie or an outie. Next stop for Juno is going to be Sagittarius. Vesta's already there. The birth of a new truth and a new religion is coming. What that looks like, who knows? But it's not going to be what it used to be. Sometimes Sagittarius can be really struggling. And if we get into this whole kind of Christian nationalist thing, it can have a very Sagittarian feel to it. But I'm telling you right now, it is that Neptune, Saturn conjunction in Aries whipping back around in February that kicks it all off. I do think that there's a portion of Gen Z that would be happy with Christian nationalism. That's Pluto and Sag. And they can be very extreme in their political and religious. And I like them, don't get me wrong. I've always spoke highly of Gen Z. I love Gen Z. I'm a Gen Z kid. I actually managed to have a good conversation with him yesterday about the generations. We got Mercury Pluto trine today too. Mercury Uranus trine. So this is a really good day to communicate. This is a good day to start the slate fresh and clean. And let me just tell you, if there are people that you need to discriminate against, not because of their skin color or skin tone or whatever, which is what the word became associated with, but because they just know they don't need to be there anymore. Today's that day. Today is that day. Get your brush out, your broom out, a little clean, sweepy sweep. You'll feel better about it. All right, let's get into our star of the day. Now, I debated about this, and today is one of those days where I've done, at least through Astro.com, most of everybody associated with this day. Banner. And today's True Hemp Science star of the day happens to be another, but the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Let's talk about True Hemp Science. I got with me a little box here. Right. This is one of Chris's fine gummies, which I highly recommend. And you spend $150 or more, you can get a goodie bag with your order. You'll probably get something like this. This is Starlight. And they're different. You can go onto the website and you can read the different descriptions for the gummies, the tinctures. They're all organically sourced, 100%. Start to finish, soup to nuts, top to bottom. There's a hundred. If you spend $150 more, you get free shipping. There's always a 30-day money back. True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all your CBD needs. Today's a great day. Do a clean sweep of your health, habituation, patterns. Maybe start some new ones. It's a new moon. Go get it. All right, let's talk about Mr. Springsteen. Down, 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 down. So this is when Bruce Springsteen became famous. He was on the cover of Time and Newsweek in 1975. I was a freshman, 74, 75. I was a freshman in high school. 75, freshman in high school. And the record industry, I believe he was on CBS Records. And he was this Born to Run is his third album. Right. He did Wild Innocent and E Street Shuffle and Welcome to Asbury Park. Those were his first two records. They're not bad. He has a keyboard player, that named David Sanchez, who's in that band, who's actually a really good jazz fusion artist too. He did a solo record called Tone, which is really quite good. But by this time, he's been replaced by a combination of Roy Bittan on piano, and I'm spacing out on the keyboard player. But there was a concerted effort to make Bruce Springsteen a star. And he was huge on the East Coast, but I got to tell you, he was not that big on the West Coast. And when you listen to the album Born to Run, you think it really rocks, but in some ways it really doesn't. And we know that Born to Run became a huge hit, but it was because of the push. This is the push. Rock's new sensation, making of a rock star. He's born on the autumnal equinox, the same day as John Coltrane, by the way. So they share the same birthday. It's pretty. This is the Ace of Clubs in cardology, if you're playing at home. And the thing with Springsteen's chart is it reminds me in some ways of Henry Ford II, which is actually his grandson, which is weird. But like, where is the success in this chart? He's got one planet above the horizon, and that's Jupiter. Everything else is below the horizon. Now, the thing that I think sets Springsteen apart is that fifth house. And it's the creativity. Bruce Springsteen is a romantic. He is if you were to start and go back to like Chrétien de Troyes and the tradition of the courtier, right? The courtier. These were the guys that were around during the Crusades. Well, all the men were off slaughtering Muslims and raping and pillaging and who knows what else they did with each other. They left their women at home, and they had these courtiers that wrote these romance tales. People like to put Bruce Springsteen in the sort of Woody Guthrie, Bob Dylan camp. That comes a bit later. Like, he tries to establish himself more as that kind of artist with the record Nebraska. Prior to that, a lot of, I mean, yes, he talks about working class people and broken dreams and hot rods and greasers and you got a real fast car, but it's taking you on the highway to nowhere. Like, you don't know where you want to go, but you just want to get out with your girl. He's more of a romantic than he is, say, Guthrie, Dylan, Springsteen. You know what I mean? If I were to actually put somebody there in that tradition, who is more of that tradition, it'd be Bruce Cockburn, the Canadian artist. Springsteen's a romantic, and you can see it's the fifth house. And he's got Mars, Pluto in Leo in the third house, and he's got these really strong sextiles. And women love Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen was, for a guy, he was the rock band that was like the chick flick too. And women loved him and his look and his show. And live, he was one of the best artists I've ever seen. I've seen him a couple times, but the first time I saw him was the River Tour, which I think is probably his last really. I can't stand Born in the USA. My favorite Bruce Springsteen record is Darkness on the Edge of Town. I think he's making that record, and he's doing it during this time where there's punk and new wave, and it's got a bit of a more of a lean kind of New York sound. You knew all about that stuff. I mean, Patti Smith wrote a couple of his tunes, so he was like connected to that downtown world, even though he's from New Jersey. But that's really who he is. He's a romantic. And you can see that with the Mars-Pluto conjunction in Leo, third house, and the sextiles with Mercury and Libra, right? And Neptune's got Mars, Neptune. So he's very, even his sun is just borderline. We're going to read his sun for the fifth house. So he's creative, and creative and romantic. And it feels to me like because of those sextiles, and I also feel like Bruce Springsteen wanted to be rich. This is one of the things you'll never hear about. But maybe he wanted to be rich because he wanted to feed other people and take care of his road crew or whatever. But it's those squares to Jupiter and Capricorn. And Bruce Springsteen is odd because on the one hand, with Uranus in the first house, you know, he's radical. He's a tough guy. He hates Trump. But he's never been able to adjust his radical or his sort of progressive politics. You know, like he can't say no to Trump without having to say yes to all the baggage that's anti-Trump. You know what I mean? And it's put him in a precarious position politically because he's turned off a lot of people. And a lot of the so-called working class people who cozied up to Bruce Springsteen and thought Born in the USA was a great song about the country have kind of discovered the truth. And I think all these squares to Jupiter are about a sacrifice and what he does in order to make sure that he appeases the people that continue to give him record deals and promote his tours. And there's a sacrifice here. And you can just see it. This is other people's money. And he's not going to upset the apple cart, but he's also going to convince himself that he's politically on the right side of things. Now, the one thing you'll notice about Springsteen is, he's not a Springsteen chicken, but he's not in bad shape either. He's how old is he today? Let's see, 70. Bruce Springsteen's 75 today. He's 75 years old, and he looks pretty good for 75. He's not the dude he was, but he looks pretty good. He's always, whenever he goes on tour, he brings a gym with him. He's got, the Nautilus machine or Bowflex or whatever, because his shows are very, very physical. He and Mick Jagger are pretty good shape. But he's got Gemini rising, so he's always going to have that kind of youthful affectation. I can see why he sings about wanting to get out of where you live, because he has Saturn and Virgo in the 4th house. His mother is also in the rock and roll business. Right, so here's the moon over there. There's mom. And he's got a very close relationship with mom. He has moon at the end of Virgo, Mercury-Virgo conjunction. And so he's got a close relationship with her. And she's in management. And I knew this guy who wound up working with her. So she's in the business. His sister, I don't know how she got there, but his sister wound up going to high school. Was that Belmont High, Cragmont? One of those schools over there, Belmont or San Carlos High. Pam Springsteen was Bruce's sister, and she was in high school at the same time I was. Actually, just coming out of it. So she's around my age. I bet you she's working for a mother. So musical family. A professional family right here. But I can see why he would want to get out with Saturn here. Venus and Scorpio, a lot of his relationships are very dark. They're very, very dark. He paints very dark pictures about doomed romances that are going nowhere. So let's get in our fast car and get the hell out of here, honey. And he's aggressive. He's got the true note in Aries. So when you see him being a tough guy and biting back against Trump, just know it's in his chart. That's what he's supposed to do. He's got Aquarius on the midheaven. And in a lot of ways, you can kind of see Aquarius here. Like, even though print media is more Sagittarian, his 9th house is ruled by Aquarius. And it's the print medium. And then later on, MTV. It's like whenever there was a new medium for Bruce Springsteen, they supported him. Hand in glove. Although, it's a really weird time between Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Heaven. Because even though Born to Run, like I said, was a big single and a big hit, and he was getting this reputation for being this great touring band, he's very much into the band. He's the leader of the band, right? There were whispers that with all the hype, it still wasn't enough. Could he transcend the hype and the reputation for being a great live performer and have a really big hit record? And yeah, right. He does get Born to Run, but the single, but it doesn't really click for him in a really big way until born in the USA, dancing in the dark and all that stuff. That's when he becomes huge. And it's the next layer of the media, which is going to be MTV and that video with Courtney Cox. And again, it's going to be Aquarius, which is going to pierce him through to the next level, right? And he's toured so much, the guy, and I'm trying to be kind here, that he's a road warrior. And I do think that he believes in his politics, but I also feel like he's become so invested in the machine. And what I mean by the machine, this is one thing that people understand about musicians that have been around for a long time. They have a machine behind them. They have publicists, they have roadies, road crew, they have all these different facets of what makes them a successful artist. And a lot of these people have been with them for a very long time. And Bruce Springsteen does not have a small band. This is not like a trio. You know, he's got 2 guitar players, 2 keyboard players, a bass player, a drummer. He might even have 2 drummers now. I don't know. And he's got his wife who sings backup vocals. So, you know, he takes it's a lot of people. He had a sax player. I love Clarence Clemens, by the way. He passed away. But he's got to have another sax player because those saxophone parts are really key for the first 4 or 5 albums. So the band alone, you got to kind of break the bank for the band alone. He's got a Sun Jupiter trine, which is actually pretty good, and other people's money. But there's a sacrifice there with all those other planets down there in the 5th house. And so I feel like even if he wanted to move off of Uranus and talk to his audience and let's say he wanted to be more of a Thomas Massey Republican or a Thomas Massey. He can't do it. He can't do it. And it's because of Jupiter. He's made a deal. He's made some kind of a deal. He's made some kind of a corporate deal. Maybe he made a Mark Bolan deal. But he's made a deal and he can't move off of it. And at some point, there's a farewell tour. He's got Saturn and he has Neptune going into his 11th house. I think he's going to break up the band. I think you're going to see Bruce Springsteen over the next 2 years announce his farewell tour. That's what I think. Because he's going to have Saturn in 3 years going through his 12th house. A little over 3 years. And that's the end of the road, astrologically speaking. So I think you're gonna see him, and the concerts will be huge, massive, expensive. Right? It'll be the end of an era. It's coming. And it will be within the next 2 years. It'll be done. Right? Does he still want to be playing when he's 80? I mean, I don't want to be an ageist, but good on him if he can. Maybe it's that Sun Jupiter trine in Capricorn. Maybe it's the Gemini rising. You just see more limitations coming with groups and Saturn. Anyway, there you go. There's your True Hemp Science star of the day. The boss, Bruce Springsteen. With that, the show comes to an end. We're done. Thank you for being here. And you know the drill. We'll do a little retrograde today. How about that? Use your head to discriminate with what's real and your heart to stay open to what's possible. See it change it up a little bit. All right, take care. Bye for now. Love you guys. God bless. Have a great equinox.